Loving pranams at the divine lotus feet for most beloved Swami. Brothers and sisters, Sara to all of you. The fact that we have all gathered here this evening on a working day is because of His divine grace. It is an expression of our love for Him, but it is also a testimony of the spiritual wisdom of our distinguished guest, whose narration of Swami's love we have all come to hear. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Dr. Sara Pavan. He's an anesthetist from Australia who came to Swami's fold in 1980. But from 1993, he's been serving our beloved Swami as a resident of Prashanthi Nilayam, serving in the super specialty hospital in Puttaparthi. His contribution to digital videos, many of the videos that we see today, he has been instrumental in producing those. He has lived in practically every continent. He's lived in almost 8 countries. But after he came to our beloved Swami's lotus feet, very appropriately he wrote a book, No Country, No Name. Oorledu, Peruledu. And this book was blessed by our beloved Swami in March 2010 and distributed as prasadam on Yugadi Day that year in Sai Kulwant Hall. He's here as part of his world tour. In fact, Swami guided him to visit many countries. And he is coming here after speaking to many groups of Swami's devotees in Fiji, New Zealand, Australia, Russia. And in fact, tomorrow morning he leaves on a tour of 10 Latin American countries to spread Swami's message of love. We are extremely grateful that he could make time for us this evening. Please join me in giving a very loving welcome.
Loving Sairam to each and every one of you. My love and dedication to our beloved Swami, God in the human form who has come to show us the way to freedom. I dedicate this evening, whatever I say, as inspired by him. It's a heart-to-heart talk rather than giving a lecture. I don't like to use the word lecture because I've never been a professor or a lecturer. Professionally, I've been trained to put people to sleep. And Swami took me out of that job. Because during that period, I was putting people to sleep at the material level. Swami was waking me up with a big stick. And so I can only share with you how it was difficult to be woken up. Because it's like us who love to sleep. When the alarm rings, we just press the button off and want to continue to sleep until somebody comes and yells, and sometimes somebody had to drag you out of the bed onto the floor before you wake up or splash a bucket of ice water on your body. God doesn't do such things. It's a free world. The whole universe is action, reaction, reflection, resound. You get what you want. You get nothing more, nothing less. The whole universe is in a state of balance. But we have cried too much for too long. Knowingly or unknowingly, we have cried out to God to help us, and without even knowing who and what God is. So He has come. So out of 7 billion people, how many are interested in the search for meaning in life, to find fulfillment in life? Everyone has their own path. We come with nothing and we leave this world with nothing. We are not even this body. So why are we leading an unhappy life? All these have to be answered. On my part, all through my life I was not religious. I became an agnostic the moment I got to the university. My parents were not insistent on any ritual or any kind of worship. My father in particular was not a temple man, because in the name of God, temples were used for various activities to boost various things, especially those days in village temples, there were animal slaughter and things like that. Born in Malaysia during the war, under Japanese occupation. But what I'm trying to say is, today I can say thank you, Swami, for keeping me in darkness of not knowing anything about religion. Because had I known a lot about religion as we have been offered to understand, that would have been a great obstacle in my own progress. So I start with scratch, and almost as if a blank floppy disk or blank CD was given to Swami to write the script. Simple as that. I didn't have any carry forward. I don't want to give you a lengthy talk, but I want to share with you how simple it is to love somebody. And love is God. And everything in creation is God. Somehow the whole mind has got twisted over centuries. Again, I'll say certain things which might disturb your beliefs, but I have to speak the truth from my perspective. I'm not anti-religion, but I'm very anti the way the human beings have projected God through their respective religions to take us away from God, not to God. As if we can have a trade-off with God, as if we could buy God. So that is sounding a little bit atheistic, but no. A true spiritual person will see that we are fooling our own selves, and it's a free world. Doesn't matter. Swami walks past. He has allowed many things to happen only because that's the only way he can relate to us. He has come down to the level where we can connect with him. And because we are happy, he appears to be happy with us, we think we have found it. No. Of course we know God is everything. And we know there's nothing that God does not know. At least we believe so. And all merciful too. Because if God were to have a human mind, He wouldn't have spared any of us. Repeatedly we make mistakes, and repeatedly He keeps forgiving us. Why? Because we are part of Him. It's like the tip of my little finger thinking it is separate from the rest of the body. That is how we are living. And this finger is moving. And in its ignorance, if it thinks it's moving on its own accord, even a child will know it's connected to the tendon, to the muscle belly in the palm of the hand, to the nerve, brachial plexus, spinal cord, brain, motor cortex. The command is coming from there. If we say whole of life is a puppet show and the puppeteer is God, how many of us will believe? Will our ego allow us to understand and accept it? Man minus ego is God. God plus ego is man. Man is God. There is no other God. The whole of creation is God. The nature is a vesture of God. When God manifests in a form, that form is God, but temporary. But the essence of that manifest is divinity by itself. Even a grain of sand is God. But it's the mind that has separated us from God, and yet without the mind we can't find God, and without the mind we can't live. So I just give a preamble like that to get you into a neutral ground so that you will be able to appreciate a few things. Life is complicated only because of our own selves. I'll sit when I think Swami is making me younger and younger. Because I'm now 74, I turned 74 at St. Petersburg. 12 years earlier I turned 62 in Moscow. Both occasions Swami blessed and sent me. And you got to go there to see that love and spiritual intensity. At least, since I mentioned Russia, that's the only country in the world that Swami has singled out and said, their intensity and hunger to realize God are the Russians. 2006 Shivaratri, he interrupted the discourse late in the evening after bringing out the lingam. And he asked, are there Russians here? They didn't understand. And he said, they come here to receive from me what I have got to give. 100%. They come to India only for Swami. They have no other interest. They come for the purpose. I'm not accusing, because we go there to see our friends and relations, and most of us were born there, and that kind of thing, and maybe give 5% of our time to Swami. And while we are there too, the cell phone is too busy connecting up with all of that. That concentration is not there. We are not able to receive what he is giving us. It's like any other yatra. People have been going for hundreds of years, thousands of years to Benares and Tirupati and name it, another yatra. Parthi yatra is another yatra. He has come to give us the highest. And we call him Bhagavan because everybody calls him Bhagavan. We don't have that experience of his divinity, and yet we call him Bhagavan. And when he leaves his body and presses the eject button from the capsule, from the cockpit, suddenly we think we are in an aircraft without a pilot. You think Baba needs a body to fly his aircraft? Cosmic, the whole universe. He is the pilot of the entire universe. And our little minds, we think we are that clever. Now who is in the cockpit is the question. He manifested with a body only for our sake. But he doesn't need a body to get his work done. Neither any one of us to get his work done. Everything is happening. A true definition that I feel intuitively and experientially, a definition for God is God makes things happen. That is it. So that will is supreme will, and it must happen. Sai Vakyam Vajra Vakyam. When he says, it is as good as done. When we say it's always wishy-washy because next day we change our idea and every day it keeps changing, and it's like sending a servant to the shop to do shopping without a proper shopping list. Even the shop assistant can't help because there's too much of scratches and rewriting and scratches and rewriting. We don't know what really we want. Even if Swami would come face to face and ask, what do you want? We stumble. We don't know what we want. So, I don't want to go at that wavelength. I want to pick a certain theme and see how far we go this evening. Most of us have a bird's eye view of Bhagavad Gita, and Lord Krishna has come again after 5,000 years, only to fulfill the promise he gave 5,000 over years ago. The 3 slokas. One is, whenever unrighteousness is rampant, etc., etc., I embody myself to protect the virtues and to destroy the evil. Not people, but the virtues and evil in the mind of man. He had not come to kill anybody. Those days, we are imagining a lot of things. Because there is nothing to kill. Because there is no birth, there is no death. So, but to change the mind of man or human, God takes a form. The second one is, Ananya Chintayanto Ma Ye Janaha Pariyupasate, etc. I don't claim any scholarship in Sanskrit. I believe I was a scholar in Vedas and Sanskrit in my previous life, when my name was Ramakrishna and I was a very scholarly Nambodhari. Now don't ask me all those questions. I know a few of my past lives. Nothing happens without nothing. But we don't know these things. But certainly submit ourselves to that fact that there is a cause for what we are, where we are, why we are, in whatever state we are. So there is no question of blaming somebody else. The fundamental truth is, I caused it, I attracted this event, and therefore I have to overcome. The problem is neither inside nor outside. I am the problem. I am the solution. We are all looking for somebody else to solve our problem. It is not going to be. The fundamental truth is, I am the solution because the problem I have created in my mind. Truly, there is no problem. The whole universe is perfect because everything appears and disappears. Is there anything that is permanent? We are the ones who have created what is meant to be impermanent as permanent, while the manifest world is in a state of flux. So the second one, he promised that, what is the thing? Think of me and me alone, and do everything as my work for my sake, and offer the fruits of your action to me. I take responsibility for you, for this life, and many future lives, or the hereafter. The third one he has come to fulfill is in the last chapter, chapter 18. Sarvadharman Partyatnya, that sloka. Absolute surrender. What is surrender? It is not surrendering like the Japanese surrendering to the British forces at the end of the Second World War in Singapore, the Far East, or the surrender of German army to the Russian and the Allied forces, which is mainly Britain and United States. And that's what I was in Moscow and St. Petersburg. On the 9th of, they have got this big parade. It's called the victory celebration, but actually they're victorious over Hitler, that's all. But it's all one versus the other, it's all a cosmic drama. There's nothing bad or good in this entire universe. Advaita darshanam jnanam. The good and bad is relative to the human mind. There is no death. Krishna has said in the Gita already 5,000 years ago. And yet the scholars who jet around the world selling Gita, a telegram or phone call comes from India, that somebody is seriously sick, they cancel the program and go back. I'm not accusing anybody. Now I'm going to touch on, it's a question of knowing the truth and being the truth with absolute faith and knowledge that everything is perfect. Naturally, for children, we have got to tell them because they can't discriminate. You've got to protect them like the eyelid. So you don't want them to have any suffering, consequence, because we don't want to be hurt. So we teach them how not to hurt others so that the boomerang effect or the karmic backlash doesn't take place. But do grown-ups need that kind of guidance, protection? In spite of knowing, after all, what did Newton's laws are cosmic law, God's laws. Every scientific discovery is God's law because there's a law of nature. When we live naturally with nature, there won't be any problem. But we are working against nature unnaturally as if we are going to change nature by our ego. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So I punch you, you punch me. What's the big deal about it? And again, the first law of motion is again nature. Every body or object will continue to be in a state of rest or of uniform motion unless an impressed force acts upon it. Now if I ask you all, what turned you to Baba? Something or the other has happened in your life. And if that didn't happen, you wouldn't be here in America either. And at that time, that was an adversity. Looking back, you can say it was the gift of God, providence. So we don't have that full understanding because we don't have a complete picture. It's like going to a movie, 3-hour movie with a little intermission after the interval. We do not know there is an intermission. And as soon as the intermission starts, they leave you in suspense. And you think the movie is over. You go home and write a review about the movie without seeing the other half. It is like that. we haven't got a full understanding. No amount of scholarship, material education, no amount of scholarship of scriptures and philosophies is going to help. Because Bhagavan has said, Pustakam Mastakam. He is not interested in all the bookish knowledge, all the loading and unloading. Now when I mention the loading and unloading, I'll give you a little break to have a little laughter. In 1993, when we went to settle down to start work, Swami kept me on the veranda for nearly 6 or 7 weeks without letting me go to hospital. I was waiting to get started. I said, what am I doing here? I've come here to work in the hospital and he doesn't let me start work. Okay, that is Swami's way. Patience, patience, patience. The other reason is he wanted everybody to know who is who, because living in Prashanti Nilayam is tough. When people don't know who you are, you get kicked around at times by all kinds of people. And you can't, okay, you go for a visit, it's okay for 2 weeks, it's good for the ego to get kicked around. But if you get kicked around for the whole year, life becomes unbearable. So he does various things for a certain reason. Now this early morning, I had some tummy upset. I've already given the clue, because this is truth, told by a very senior surgeon who is dead and gone now. He said, Pavan, do you know this country has 3 Ds you can't escape? What are the 3 Ds? First D is divinity. Wherever you go, even if there's a peepal tree, there will be a lit camphor or some incense. Oh, an anthill. Somebody would have burnt some camphor or put some shoe flower. Naga worship and so on. There is no place, you turn anywhere, there's some mark of something, or some banyan tree with all the roots coming down. Somebody will be going around with a thread, binding it, like binding a cricket bat from cracking us. Now this, it's okay. All that is a symbol of knowing there is piety, there is respect, there is worship of some kind or the other. No criticism. So first D is divinity. The second D, you tell me. Now that you have lived in America, you can be a little bit, you can forget that you are an Indian for a change. What is the second D? Dust. In the order of commonness. And the third D is, of course, right. So Swami finished, I had a very bad diarrhea early morning and I was not working. So I went late. The doctors had gone to hospital. I was sitting in front of the door. Swami came out, looked at me, walked towards me and said, what are you doing? When he asks such a question, you are very, very unsettled. You don't know what to say. So I just looked at him. I didn't answer. Then he said, loading and unloading. And that's what we are doing with books. When you have diarrhea, there is no nutrition. All what you have eaten is gone through the backside. Similarly, we are loading and giving lectures. I don't like the word lecture. I'm very allergic to that word lecture. Neither am I a teacher or a professor. I only knew how to put people to sleep. So I am here now not to give you a lecture, but to share with you from my heart my testimony of who Baba is. Not second hand, but direct. Then I didn't answer. Then he is asking, why haven't you gone to hospital? So I said, Swami, I'm waiting for your permission to start work. Oh, so you wait for my permission to eat also? Because he knows that I eat without saying Brahmarpanam. I didn't say a word. Then he asked me, how old are you? This was in 1993. At that time I was 15 and Swami was 68. I said, 55, Swami. 55? But you are much older than me. You look much older than me. I didn't say a word. Then he bent himself into two and shoved his hair into my face and then straightened up and said, did you find any grey hair? I said, not one, Swami. Then Now I call this the divine boast. Then he is telling me, for 50 years, my weight is 108 pounds. Not 1 pound more, not 1 pound less. And then he moved his robe freely and said, even my waist is the same, and looked at this little bulge. I've lost a bit of weight. Those days it was much more. Right. Now you can't just sit and look at him like that forever. So I said, Swami, please forgive me. That is why you are God, Swami, and I'm human. Hey, your body and my body are the same. The difference is, I have discipline. You have no discipline whatsoever. Right. So if we want to be on the spiritual path, if we want to realize the truth as to who we really are, and the truth is you are God, everything is God, then we need to have a commitment. Part-time devotion, marking attendance and thinking that once a month a bhajan, otherwise, and it's Baba's business to do everything, is all utter nonsense. You don't need to go even to a center or bhajan, frankly speaking. That awareness of connection to Him wherever you are. Another definition for educare is seeing God in everything, everywhere, all the time. Seeing everything, everywhere, all the time as God. That is the truth. Why are we separating God from us? And who separated God from us? You have to give me the answer. If I say the truth, some of you may not like me. The people who represent the agency, the intermediary between you and God, for their self-importance, to control and subjugate them, they separate, whether it's church or mosque or Hindu temple. It's an exclusive privilege for a few. Baba has come to change the whole thing. Many things, through lack of time, I can't say. Everyone has a right, equal right. Long time ago, we chanted Gayatri Mantra in 1988. After a bhajan, we happened to visit ancestral home in Sri Lanka on the way to Australia. The village priest also, being a close friend of the family, came, and then he's telling my sister he is committing a sin because he is not a Brahmin. He has not had the Upanayanam. He has no business to chant Gayatri. I mean, this is going on in every religion. We are using an old software to find the truth. It's not going to work. And we are projecting upon Swami, and he's allowing us to do it only because that's the only way we know how to connect to Bhagavan. So having said these three slokas, I will get to the middle one. Ananya Chintayantoma. Till the age of 42, I was an agnostic. I came to know Baba at the age of 30. Somebody mentioned, I rubbished the whole thing. For 12 years, in my professional career with success and jetting around the world for conferences, wherever I see some picture of Baba in somebody's house, I berate them and insult them and ridicule them. And I used to even say nasty words about Baba. If Baba was a human, he would have never forgiven me. How can a mother bear a grudge against her own son, no matter what the little boy tells about his mother? That is God. Complete mercy, complete forgiveness, because in ignorance this kid is doing these things. Now mother wants the kid to grow up. Will the mother have vengeance against the child? Who created this attitude of vengeance? God is a punishing God? It's man again. So when somebody will introduce me to somebody, oh, you must meet so-and-so, he's a God-fearing man. I don't want to know these people. When God is love, I'm not interested to meet and say hello to God-fearing people. We introduce fear into the mind of the child from day one. When God is pure love, mercy, compassion, forbearance, forgiveness. So like that, there are many, many things. We are grounded in our body consciousness. We are identifying ourselves by our pedigree. Whether you are Tamilian from Tamil Nadu or Maharashtrian or Sri Lankan or Bengali. You are none of them. You are God. That's the truth. In this particular sojourn or life, you happen to be born somewhere and you are told by the parents and environment you are a Bengali. That's all. Or a Sikh. And then you grow your hair and put your turban. So we are creatures of conditioning. I'm talking simple spirituality. We are creatures of conditioning on two legs. And we carry this identity till the cremation ground. And this is what Baba has come. Now if we believe Baba, now you wouldn't be here if you don't believe in Baba. He has given the answer. There's only one caste, the caste of humanity. There's only one religion, religion of love. One language, language of the heart. And one God who is omnipresent. Follow the master, face the devil, fight to the end, finish the game. Life is a challenge, meet it. Life is a dream, realize it. Life is a game, play it. Life is love, share it. What is this love? We don't even experience love. And our life is miserable because we don't know what love is. An average person, love is body relationship. Yes, that is divine love too. Because love doesn't originate in the brain or the mind. Love originates from the heart. That's a seat of God. And God is love. But it has to externalize itself. Naturally, the mind is the buffer or the interface between God and the outer world through the senses, through speech, etc. Action. So the mind distorts the truth. And so this profoundness of love is already distorted into attachment. I, me and mine. All of us go through that. The I, me and mine is preserved and guarded. Because without that we will not stay put there to clear our karma or syllabus, which is called prarabdha karma or destiny. And God himself will not remove that veil of Maya of I, me and mine. And yet in traditional terms we have been taught the 4 ashramas of brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa. But even at the age of sannyasa we are still like brahmacharyas. The whole world is a mental hospital. We are all psychiatric. Only thing is the pot calls a kettle black. And that is why there is no psychiatric wing in the super specialty hospital, because Baba doesn't need that. The whole world is a madhouse. It is true. We may laugh, but it is the truth. It's the greatest comedy show that is going on in the name of civilization and modern education. With all what we have, we are still lonely. Why? The insecurity comes out of that ego. We can't feel oneness with another human being. We can't trust anybody. Love has disappeared. Now some experiences, I'll focus only on the second one. How I came to Baba is a long story. But overnight, through a dream, he changed me. Overnight. I was not interested in anything after that. I used to drink heavily, smoke heavily, parties, gallow, golf clubs. On the weekends I am free, I might stay in the clubhouse and drink beer till about 4 o'clock in the evening, things like that. At least I went to him with a blank floppy disk for him to write Brahma Vidya. And also, the preparation was there without my knowledge, my past lives. I knew. So nothing can happen unless we are ready and receptive. So overnight change, high income and simple life. I talk to Baba, he will talk to me. Even as early as 1980. And I'll say, what do I do with this excess money? He said, go and do service. Use it to spread the message of my teachings. So what is the best way? Video camera. At that time, camera was 7 kilograms on the shoulder. And the recorder hangs on a strap on the side, 10 kilograms. 17 kilograms on the body, you stand and do video. I used to do Super 8 cine movies as a hobby. So I was very versatile with camera handling. So started my video only with Baba from 1980. And I've been doing video of Baba from then on, right through. Started with digital video in Prashanthi Nilayam, and then when the studio came, little by little, let go. But I carried on doing until Swami left his body, mostly shooting in the veranda. So leave that aside. 1984, I thought I'm a useless devotee. I can't pray. I don't know rituals. I can't even meditate. People come, they're scary. In the medical college too, some people study small print and come and scare you away before an exam. So I felt so inadequate. So I told Swami, please help me. I don't know how to pray. I don't know any ritual. I can't meditate. Swami said, hey, what meditation and prayer for you? Go and work, work, work. Love, love, love. Think of me all the time. What simple remedy. Can you honestly meditate in this place with your cell phone ringing on one side, TV, radio, this, traffic, that worry, this worry, the child hasn't come home? And you say, I'm meditating and describing some funny feeling, which could be some hallucination. At least I must confess. Please forgive me. You're running, aping people and running here and there, trying to imitate. Imitation is the only limitation we are suffering from. And we have done it for centuries and millennia in religion. We go there and look at the other guy. And then we also start doing it without knowing the meaning. That's what some foreigners are doing. They stand near Ganesha and watch. And then they'll see all kinds of topukarnams and they also start doing it. Right? Doesn't matter. Those were symbolic. And there are, some people have sent me some forwards where even topukarnam helps you with your better, you unload a lot of things. And some people do this in front of Baba, like that. Right? It's okay. Even very eminent scientists do it in front of him. But that's okay. Those are traditional things. I mean, if you're not exposed to it, doesn't matter. If only you can understand what love is. That's why first time my wife and I experienced pure love in Russia in 2000. Because that love was heart to heart, bypassing the head. In Tamil we use the word anbu. But attachment is called pasam. Similarly, you will have your own words in your own mother tongue. Attachment is also divine love, but come through the mind of possessiveness. Okay. So, that's it. Serve. When you serve the others, you are serving God. Mother Teresa is a perfect example because she is not giving anything. She says, I give a part of God to another part of God. I happen to be. It is the motive behind the action. It's not what you do, how much you give, but the spirit behind giving. And it is in that giving we receive. Okay. So he promised in 1980, first interview. 5 days we had 2 interviews. First day was nothing but cry, cry, cry. Because I was a 42-year-old strapper. And yet in front of him I was a 2-year-old kid. Cried and cried like a 2-year-old child, wailing away. He asked me to come and sit next to him. And every time he touched me, it's like an old HMV gramophone. You start crying and shh, people outside will think I'm beating you. Finally, I had to buck up. I said, you haven't come here to cry? 5 days, and he's giving the first interview the day before we were leaving. So I wanted to talk to him. Lump in the throat. Can't even externalize a voice. So he was having my left hand on his right lap and stroking my hand all the time. To attract his attention, I was a 2-year-old kid. I started scratching his thigh like that to attract his attention. He turned to me and said, what do you want? Of course, that's the first encounter. He wouldn't have tolerated it if I kept on doing it. So I had to get some voice out, and I said, Swami, I want only one thing. Will you promise me? Now, who is asking that question? And the answer he gave, ask me anything, I'll give you. Now, here is the thing I want to stress. There is nothing you can ask without God prompting you from inside. If He wants you to shut up, He'll make sure you will never talk even. This is the power of God in the human form. So He knows the question before I even ask. And He says, ask me for anything, I'll give you. And I say, I want only you. Because I've already experienced Him as God. From one extreme of an agnostic to the other extreme, there is nothing else in this whole universe except the Purna Avatar. So, he asked, what do you want? I'll give you anything. I said, I want your lotus feet alone, and I want to be with you forever. He stopped everything, turned around, pulled his robe halfway up to the knee, lifted his feet forward, and I stretched my hands and held his heels, raised his feet towards me as I bent down to kiss his feet. Tears pouring down my eyes. I had the rare privilege to wash his lotus feet with my own tears. And this is the only Abhishekam I have done in this life. I don't do any rituals. I have no interest in rituals. And this is, have I got to prove my devotion to Tom, Dick and Harry when it's a personal matter between me and God is my question. Exhibitionism is not spirituality. It is that love, that deep, deep connection. You owe nobody any explanation that you are a very God-loving person. It's between, that is the antarangam, a pure connection inside. You can do anything in the world with constant awareness. He is with you and doing it through you. Okay. Of course, no conversation. The next day, he said, you come tomorrow, you sit in the veranda. I've got a lot of things to talk with you. This was on the 29th of December 1980. At that time, Puttapati was only next to Stone Age. And he said, unasked, I have sent you to many countries in the world to gain experience. I have specially chosen Australia for you, the best country in the world. That was for me. Yes, even today, a lot of great things about that place. Vast country, migrant country, a lot of opportunities, and a balance really. Whichever way, that was my destiny. Of course, when I was in England after my fellowship, I wanted to come to America. I tried the ECFMG, I never studied, but it was not my destiny. My wife got 76 marks, and so she was all right. But I got only 73, 2 points missing. So destiny has a role. You could have rolled a pencil and the multiple choice, I could have got 75 too. There is a destiny which no human being can change. Everybody wants to come to America. So when I was in England after the fellowship, I wanted to come to America too. This was in 1968. I would have walked straight into Cleveland Hospital or any other top hospital as a consultant. But it was not my destiny. Good. So then on, he said, after 10 years, I'll build a specialty hospital in Puttaparthi. Nobody will believe it. 29th of December 1980, he told me, and you will come and live with me and work for me. Now, naturally, I'm still a worldly person. I've got 2 daughters. One was 14, the other one 10. And there's nobody else around to look after them in Australia. So he read my mind straight away and said, your children are my children. It is my responsibility to educate them, marry them and look after. Work there for 10 years, I have a lot of work for you. And after 10 years, you come and live with me. What was the work? Already I'm working 80 hours a week in the operating theatre. Now, setting up the Sathya Sai organization, there was no organization. It all began in our house. And we went through so much of fire and pain, but looking back, every bit of it was nothing but burning the ego. Swami himself in his latter years said, who has seen Rama or Krishna? It's all imagination, an artist's impression. I am not scared to say this only because there is nothing else left in this world except Sai, who has come to show the way, and it's up to us. You can't have the cake and eat it. You can't paddle 2 boats. You've got to make up your mind which boat you want to be in. But it doesn't matter. But the important thing is, he will take us ashore. In 1999, there was a very important person from New Delhi seated next to me in the veranda 2 days before the birthday. And Swami had huge bundles of letters in his hand. And he came and stood in front of him and said, look, so many letters. I mean, those days, he could carry even up to 1 kilogram of letters all tucked between fingers. So heavy, so many letters, he said. Then this gentleman said, Bhagavan, it's your birthday, it's all the love they have for you, Swami. And he said, yes, sir, 2 hands full. Not Baba black sheep, 3 bags full. I am not Baba black sheep, I am white ship. I have come into this ocean of samsara to rescue you from drowning and take you safely ashore. Isn't then the onus on us to get closer to the boat, get into the boat, keep away from those sharks of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya? What is all this? It's so simple. A will to want to achieve, and nothing in the world can stop. That will is lacking. We can't have everything. That concentration and determination. Okay. So Swami straight away said, they are my children, it's my responsibility. And God telling me, I knew, I didn't go to India to find out whether He is God. Long before I went to India, seeing Baba, I knew He was God. And when God talks to me, it is absolute truth. I never looked after my daughters. And my friends would say, because we have no parties, nothing. And they will say, you're a mad fellow. You've got 2 daughters in your house. The way you and your wife behave, who is going to give you a son-in-law? This is a typical South Asian logic. Whether it is India or Sri Lanka, the same old way. And he found the boys. He performed the marriage in the interview for both the girls. What I'm telling is, when you do his work, he will do your work. But at every time, he will test you to see whether you are a worthy recipient of his grace. It won't be handed down like a dole or a welfare benefit. So at every time something bigger, he will put you through the grinder, test you to see whether you do believe in that infinite power, mercy and love of God before he does. So I've been through a lot of fire because the mind is pretty. So once I went into, okay, that is 1984, and both daughters got married. I'm just fast forwarding it. And came 1989. I put aside a lot of money for charitable work or give it to Baba. And put aside, at the end of it, in real terms, it was almost $1 million Australian. My accountant managed it, produced false documentation, swindled it, and siphoned all that money into the Swiss bank. That is how I came to realize my past life. What I did in the name of God. Pilfered God's money for my self-indulgent pleasures. So He gave me the opportunity to clear the debt in this life. I am the richest man in the world today with little money in the bank, with no land or house or property. Because my greatest wealth is love. The whole world is mine. I was in Russia for the last 16 days. If only you had been there with me, you would have known what love was there to embrace and feel. And now 2 months I'm going to Latin America, where the hearts are open. And when I finish this tour, being the second trip to Russia and the fourth, covering 10 countries in Latin America, already Swami has given the title of the book, Where the Hearts Are Open. You can never find God through the head. That is, about 3 months ago, I got clear understanding, conceptual in thought, intellectual in understanding, analytical in the mind. Caught up in pursuits of survival, it becomes self-centered and strongly individualistic. Now this is why I'm saying it's not a trade-off with God. That faith that He is love and there's nothing He cannot do. So I'll fast forward again. In 1992, 5 years after marriage, my daughter conceived. Husband and wife both are doctors. And the greatest trial to demonstrate His power. It is written in Satyam Shivam Sundaram, volume 7. Volume 6, page 414. 34 weeks pregnancy, obstetric complications. The baby died in the mother's womb. And my specialty is not only anesthetics, but I was extra special training in neonatal pediatric anesthesia in one of the pioneering pediatric teaching hospitals in England. At that time, America was learning how to give anesthetics because all these things began in England, really. Because 60% of anesthetics in America was given by nurses, not doctors. So, Alder Children's Hospital. So I know a lot more in pediatric neonatal work, and the New Zealand government paid a first-class passage to get us across there to set up a pediatric neonatal anesthetic department in a teaching hospital in New Zealand. So I know what death is. 5 minutes, the brain is gone. You can kickstart a heart, even if it has stopped for 20 minutes. But after 5 minutes, the brain is dead permanently. You don't need to be a doctor to know that. I have no time to describe it, but a big drama spanning over 18 hours. And he tested and tested, but he kept to his promise. Because you do my work, I do your work. So he gave life to this dead baby, premature, weighing 2.2. Ultimately, 18 hours later, and that boy, tall, handsome, healthy, top in sports, top in studies, he wanted only Baba. Nothing but Baba. And as a kid of 4 and 5, he started having beautiful visions. He'll be brushing his teeth in the landing upstairs, down the steps, suddenly he'll see a big blue ball. And then he concentrates there. Krishna comes out with a flute and smiles at him. He's having dinner when it is dark outside, and suddenly somebody's knocking at the glass window upstairs, and turn around to see Krishna with a peacock feather jumping up and down and showing his face and smiling at him. Now he's keen to play harmonium. In the prayer room he goes, he can't get the melody. He's trying hard at the age of 8, and suddenly Swami himself, like a Barbie doll, about 6 inches high, comes and stands at the edge of the harmonium, looks at him and smiles. and then walks on the keyboard, playing the melody, smiles and goes away. What can this God do? I have seen, I can write books where Swami has given life to the dead. I'm personally involved. And all these things I have seen with my own eyes. Swami says, my power is immeasurable. There is nothing that I do not know. There is nothing that I cannot do. I am the totality, all of it. But that is why I will say, I pray for every one of, even now Baba is with us. Who said he is gone? You can't call him Bhagavan and look at his body and say body is gone. There is no death. And he is telling, you are God too, there is no death. It's in the Gita too. You celebrate the life of the person who leaves the body. Not mourn the death. You celebrate the life. You never cry when somebody leaves the body because he's moving on. I can give many other instances where Swami has given direct guidance. So I'm focusing again and again his benefactory effect, at the same time the test. So I better look at the time too. Another example. You need a healthy body for spiritual progression. If we don't have a healthy, strong body, we cannot spiritually progress. Just simply lying in bed and doing mantras and yantras is not going to work. We have to have a functional vehicle, a long journey. You want a car in good order, tires well inflated, serviced and in good condition, reliable. This body is only a vehicle. So if you think it's a vehicle, your body is a motor car. Your name is a registration number plate. And each one of us is rolled out of the production line of the factory. Or BMW comes from the BMW factory, not from a Mercedes factory. An African baby cannot come out of the Eskimo mother's womb. We are talking of the body as a hardware, a yantra. We never thought in those terms. Everything else is add-on into a belief system. You are this, you are that. Well, it has happened, and I know very well, those days there are no plastic tags to put around the ankle of newborn babies and strapping around the mothers for identity purposes. Only now with the plastic revolution, those days nothing of that sort. A busy maternity ward, all babies, even born to dark parents, at the time of birth they are very fair. Within a few days they get dark. So a busy midwife in a hurry can get hold of one baby and send it with the wrong mother. It has happened throughout history in so many places. A baby born to a Muslim mother could be home with a Hindu mother and vice versa. So from day one you are training that person according to what... So that is the destiny too. It couldn't have happened. There is no accident whatsoever in this entire universe. Everything is determined and predetermined will. There is a destiny that cannot be changed. That is called prarabdha karma. That is like a syllabus. And God can help us to clear it. But you can't pray to God and say, change it. Because we are looking and comparing with other people and say, okay, I'm in misery. I want to be like so-and-so. No copycatting in spirituality. God is very happy with us as we are. Because He has made us perfect as we are. But we are not happy with our own selves. We don't love our own selves. We want to be somebody else. And when we become that somebody else, hypothetically, we are not happy with that. We want to be somebody else. Monkey mind. When we have the monkey mind, competitive mind, comparative mind, jealousy mind, what can you do about spirituality? Life is nothing but misery. But we are naturally happy, but unnaturally unhealthy because we don't love our own selves. Now to give more, you have to be tested whether you are a deserving and trustworthy customer. So He has to put you through the test. And yet, His will, He has already said, you will live with me forever. Now when He puts me through the test, I want to run away. Okay, Swami overseed, supervised court case. I didn't want to fight the court case after that because my lawyers were milking me dry. And I said, Swami, I'm not interested in all this, I'm going to start work. Because he sent words to me. He gave 3 successive dreams. Why haven't you come? And then he sends a message to Mr. V.K. Narasimhan's son Prahalad when he came to Australia. Asked Pavan to come. Because in the car one day when he was going with Mr. Narasimhan, former editor of Sanatana Sarathi, he said, Pavan's daughters are married. Why is he still in Australia? Why can't he come and start work? Right. He had already decided. So when I went, I was ready to work. At the end of the interview, he named, of course, the child who was gone. And I said, Swami is your child, not our child. So it's your business to look after him. I will take care, don't you worry. For a mid-week evening, to have 70 people here or 65 people here is amazing. And that is the power of God. You couldn't have come here if He hadn't willed you to come. Please understand this. We think we are doing hell of a lot. If He didn't want you to come, you could never have come today. And I can guarantee that through my own experiences. So the illusion is we think we are free to do whatever we are doing. Yes, we have freedom. What type of freedom? Like a cow tethered to a rope, you can only graze within that area. But you've got the free choice of starting to eat the grass on this side or that side. You can't go outside that radius. So we think we have unlimited freedom. Never. That is the first thing to realize. Only when we have cleared that, even the farmer can lengthen the rope and God can give you an overdraft to stretch further. But until we clear we can't. It's like an examination. We have to pass to go to the higher class. Yes. Now he is telling me, come next year. Go and fight that case. Then I tell him, Swami, lawyers are taking the money. Even if I win the case, the money is in the Swiss bank. And he said, no, he's got a lot of money, go and fight. But that's a long story. I've left behind many articles, all written heart to heart and other things. And you can read it. All of you can read English. At least in Russia and Latin America, they are translating it. But many articles I have written on various experiences, so I don't want to take your time now. We have to make some effort ourselves. Because it is not handed down simply. A green card to heaven, forget it. You might get a green card to America, but no green card to heaven. So where is heaven? Here, right now. The state of the mind. Heaven and hell is right now. This moment. There is no other place. All the lokas are also deep in our subconscious, although you have got concentric rings of 7 lokas above. I mean, they are not like stars, planets around, so you are going to send a rocket and take you to nothing of that sort. It's all aspects of consciousness at different levels, all deep subconscious. I'm going to fast forward a bit more because I can talk about how I lost this money. But Swami made sure that I go through it. I went through enough pain, forced me to spend another 165,000 Australian dollars for Supreme Court, Appeal Court, whatever else. When the Supreme Court verdict was given, which was a gross injustice, whichever way it goes, it's a straightforward case. I go to India to start work now seriously, stay there. Straight away Swami asked, what happened to the case? I said, we have lost everything. What? Lost everything. Appeal. 3 judges. He knows the ultimate result. But he put me through all this. Go and appeal. Of course, I had already lost the appeal. You've got to do it within a month, otherwise you can't even appeal. Now I'm working in India. Appeal process is going straightforward. One judge was willing to overturn the whole thing. The other 2, I know the medical tribunals do it, hush up. They are all friends and buddies, they drink together in clubs, so naturally, money. And one of these judges, his own brother, was sentenced to jail for telling lies, for speeding, and all kinds. The whole world is corrupt. And this is the world where people are manipulating money. Your money may be worth nothing tomorrow, and we worship that money. Your happiness cannot be given with money. And I talked about this money also in my interview this afternoon on ITV, international television, whatever it is. But the real wealth is love. Love can move mountains. And we don't realize the value and the power of this love. And that's what Bhagavan is. Bhagavan is not interested in money. I can tell many stories of events in and near Swami, hospital and so on. No need. Now, appeal comes. I am now very angry with Swami. And when I go and tell him, Swami, the appeal result, it's all finished. Now angrily, not sympathetic with me, you should have lost more. You see, you got to know how Swami can mold you. Test your faith. Here I, not even an Indian. I have no relation or friend in India. And my wife and I, doctors, we leave everything. A comfortable life. A joint income together, of course, will be about $500,000 a year. Gross income before tax. But he told me, greater than money is love. Because on my second trip to Prashanti Nilayam, while flying a flight at full altitude, he's talking to me inside my head. If there are two gods in the world we live in today, one is the money god, the other is the real God. Real God is like the sun and the money god is like the moon. The moon is full and effulgent. Real God is full and love, giving and forgiving. Wealth is like the moon. Just as moon is a pale reflection of sunlight, wealth is a pale reflection of divine grace. What about health? What about character? What about so many other qualities? Compassion, love, forbearance, peace of mind. Money, 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 not so funny in the rich man's world. Have you heard the Abba singing that song? In the 70s? Yes. Yeah. So money is like moonlight. The moon is visible in dark skies. Money god is worshipped in darkness of ignorance. Moon waxes and wanes. Wealth will fluctuate. Moon cannot be seen alongside the sun. With the dawn of wisdom, all the worldly treasures are tinsel. Because you realize you come with nothing and you go with nothing. For that money, the miserable money, how many things we do and create more karma? And that's why Swami says, simple living, high thinking. One day Swami asked the boys, what is the best city in the world to live? When Swami asks such a question, they won't answer. Swami, 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 Swami. Right. So finally Swami said, the best city in the world to live is the city of simplicity. So I got this. Somebody had got it from the internet, and I was on my way to the Adelaide University in Australia while I was on holiday to speak. So this was working in me. So I was now having a dialogue with Swami in the car. Swami, only simplicity? Surely there must be other cities. Straight away he says, yes, generosity also. God talks to you if you are willing to listen to him. It all talks from inside. I could have asked any more, he would have answered. But I changed the topic and said, Swami, then what are the cities to stay away from? It's all for my own guidance. Bang, came 5 in a row like a machine gun firing bullets. Keep away from the city of publicity, pomposity, complexity, multiplicity, and animosity. The worst city, animosity. Adambaram. Yeah, pompous life. They're all illusions. Anyway, we have to go through all this because there are little pleasures. These are little pleasures. They are like toys. But the great pleasure is bliss, which comes from the wealth of God within us as love, not attachment. So with this kind of test, he will see. Now after 2 years of working, left everything and come. Now the next test starts. Can anything happen without God's will? Absolutely nothing. At least that I am prepared to stand up and be counted. Suddenly, I go to Australia for my holidays and return. And they don't want me in the hospital. We won't go into those details. But all I can say is, it appears as if there are people who don't like me. But can anything happen without God's will? You can't just simply say, not a blade of grass will move without God's will. At the same time, have a hit list of people who you think are harming you. Well, the same person is also God. That same God is in you too. Okay, so you can call it the divine mono-acting. When we are ignorant, we are angry with people for stuffing us up. But when we realize, on hindsight, they too did what God wanted done. And many years later we say, thank God that happened, because I wouldn't be what I am today if not for those setbacks. You see the point? Right. Now Swami is watching. I am unwanted. My wife is unwanted. She too was thrown out of the hospital. Now resigned to the fact that I better go back to Australia and forget about Puttaparthi, but keep Swami in my heart and carry on doing whatever. But his will, he has already decided. You will be with me forever. Now my mind is planning to go back. He's watching. Treated like scum. It was a medical conference. We worked there for 2 years. But again, Swami doing. Nobody wants you. When you want to attend the conference also, oh, we'll see. Swami also will say, we'll see. He won't say yes or no. It's all tightening the screw and really put you through the hurt feeling, upset. Now I don't have even a badge. All big shots, top cardiac surgeons from America and England, they're all there. The veranda is cleared. I've been sitting in the veranda even before the hospital came up. Now I can't sit in the veranda because I don't have a badge. University staff all out. So I'm sitting at the entrance to the veranda at the eastern end of the veranda. Swami comes, he knows a lot of acid is burning in me. He looks at me, ignores, goes, attends to all these top dignitaries who are sitting in the chair in the front section of the veranda. And then suddenly he turns and calls me by name. Hey, Pavan! So I go and then loud and clear he is telling, tomorrow inauguration, you bring your wife for the conference. Now I go and tell my wife, how are we going to go? I don't have any badge or anything. We are lamenting about it. Within half an hour, somebody is knocking at the door with a box full of everything, badges, that, this and the other for both, plus a gift, a commemorative wall clock of the super specialty hospital. This is Swami. He doesn't have to give him a pass. God makes things happen. Sai Vakyam Vajra Vakyam. We think we can maneuver this way and that way, go behind this guy and that guy. No. Okay. Now I'm planning, I didn't mix the issues up. The conference is conference, but work is work. I'm unwanted. Planning to go back to Australia. It's a long story. He made sure I stayed there. He made sure, he called me for interview and told me, you go wind up everything and come back, your wife stays here, as if he needed a surety that I'll come back. I can tell many other stories, there's no time. But I want to narrate how he is nothing but churning. Fire, hammer, water. Fire, hammer, water. And that's how the blacksmith works in a village and turns a rusty piece of iron into a strong instrument. Jeweler does the same thing. So the divine jeweler has to keep on working until he turns his raw gold with impurities into a brilliant necklace. God alone can do it. But we must be willing. It's not a handout. You got to earn it. So how much can you stay? Grace allows. And this is where there is no pain. Because His grace is like anesthetic. And you are willing to sacrifice. We go there, Puttapati, and sing, you are greater than silver and gold. You know those songs? And then, what? Is it real? Do you mean what you sing? Or Christmas time, jingle bells, and then Swami here, Swami there, Swami everywhere, and then Swami is in Puttapati. Come on, how long are we going to play this schizophrenic game? We are all schizophrenics. Even a ECT cannot cure us. So this is the state of affairs. So anyway, I'm going to fast forward, and he can do amazing things. Now I want to narrate an instance. After I started work, I stopped video because I was going through the repair shop. Oh, pain after pain, depressed and that and this. I gave up photography altogether. And one day I was watching one of the, Prashanti Council and World Foundation, a member of the foundation, Gary Bells. He came with a tiny camera and he was videoing. There was a convocation going on. We were seated on the side. We can't see a thing. And during the days when I had the camera, it was different. Now he's holding it up, tiny one, and he's holding it up. And I can see from the viewfinder, that LCD screen, all the proceedings. So I got an idea. On my way to Australia, I bought a new video camera, came. Now Anjali Devi's Divya Katha, Shirdi Sai, Patti Sai Divya Katha launching, and Swami creating the chain and all that for her. I boldly, because I thought I'm a consultant and he said nobody will harass me, I took a small tripod, sat where Vedam boys are sitting these days, and put the video camera. The guys came and said, you have no permission to do video. Take it away and go. It doesn't matter. This is the real rough shot. Who do you think you are just because you're a consultant and is there in a super specialty hospital? Don't take it for granted here. You have no clearance. Get out. So you go, leave it in the room and come back and sit there. But I cheated. I didn't bring the tripod. The camera was so small, I put inside the pocket and came. Because the desire to use it was so strong. And it is his game. Now, Swami comes, and once he's there, you take the camera out, nobody is going to come and pull you out. I was holding the camera by hand, and those are the pictures that were available. Even for the digital studio, the Message of the Lord book has got small, like a stamp-sized pictures of, on a timeline, where Swami creates a chain for Anjali Devi and all that. Yes, it is his will. But I have to go through the pain too. As soon as the function was over, the fellows came and caught me like a criminal. Took me to a side. It doesn't matter even if you're a consultant. He said, you are not allowed. And I was reprimanded and said, never do it again. I was upset only because I was doing it for the love of Swami. Because right from the word go, I thought the videos and pictures will speak louder than words that you can talk about. Now I'm sad. I'm talking to Swami. You know what's going on. If you want me to do it, make it happen. That afternoon itself, he came and called me inside his room. And he gave me a safari suit material to stitch. But I'm telling Swami, please permit me to take video. He doesn't answer. Swami, as I told you again, God makes things happen. I'm talking out of direct experience. He ignores me and walks out. Now I'm very disappointed. I don't want a safari suit material. I want him to give me permission to do video. Next morning I go for darshan. Everybody knows Mr. Chiranjeev Rao. No one doesn't know old devotees. Anyway, he's in charge. And he's standing there. And the moment he saw me, he said, come here. I thought, what have I done this morning? He's telling, tell me where you want to stand and take video, I'll clear the place for you. Again, God makes things happen. This is Bhagavan. He doesn't have to talk. So fast forward further. I used to do a lot of video. Suddenly one day, in 2000 and after the 75th birthday, I was doing a lot of video of the 75th birthday, standing on Shanti Vedika itself as Swami approaches on the blue ramp. But suddenly one day, I was giving a spinal anesthetic to a patient. I can't empty the syringe. The moment I pressed the plunger, both thumbs gone, this joint. No injury, nothing. And in simple terms, I will say, on hindsight, triple S, sudden, spontaneous, symmetrical, which is equal to Sri Sathya Sai. I used to walk with Baba all the time, wherever he goes, and hold the hand up and take video. Okay, now my hand is useless, extremely painful. So one day, there's no facility. This is talking 2001, January. Yeah. No, 2002 January, 2001 December, that time. There is no splints you can get anywhere in Puttaparthi. Special splint with Velcro, according to, sorry, now I spot you. How are you? I'm in a different world. Good. So I'm in severe pain. A lady doctor from USA had a black strap for the wrist. It's a bit too small for me, but she gave it to me. That helps a little bit because it holds it tight around here. So this joint is supported a little bit. Baba is looking at me from a distance. And he sees that. Next day he walks past me. What's wrong with your hands? So I just simply said, I've got pain, Swami. And he says, fighting with your wife. Fighting with your wife. And everybody has a big laughter at my expense. Right. This goes on. He is not bothered, but he is watching. Then Dr. Chari from USA is visiting there for the first time. Swami is always sweet to new people. And he was very sweet to me in the early days. So if you want to get away from trouble, always sit behind the new fella so that the bazookas won't hit you. So Chari, at the end of that, he walks up to me and says, I'm an orthopedician from USA, can I help you in any way? I said, I can't do anything without Swami okaying, but I've got pain, okay, what will you do? So he took me, took an x-ray. At least until I get the splint with a spica for the thumb from Australia, Velcro, I can make a plaster cast, part only like a half cast, so that you can remove it with a great bandage, but that is even more clumsy. So I said, okay, but I can't do anything without Swami's permission. I'll whack me. So next day I was having that x-ray. Swami comes out of the interview room, walks towards me, and I'm holding the x-ray up. He takes the x-ray. For at least 10 seconds he was closely looking against the light and then drops it on my lap and walks away without a word. Now I'm in severe pain. So I decided, okay, I tried. You don't want to help me, so I have to go and do whatever I can. So Chari puts a plaster cast up to the only one hand, because both difficult for me. I can't hold a comb or a toothbrush. I will hold a brush like that and brush my teeth, because I can't use the thumb for anything. Can't even hold a comb. I have to hold the comb like that. Right. Now he comes, he sees me with a plaster cast. Before he could get onto the veranda, that body language said, what the hell have you done type of a look. Now, body language, I am also telling he did it. Because I am hiding behind Dr. Chari, knowing very well that he'll be sweeter. But he didn't spare me. He get up and come. So I went. I got a photo with Bishu, not Bishu, Bishu's brother, another Prushti took a photo with Swami. So he first said, it's useless, throw it away. Softly. Then I said, no. Keep it. So Chari thought the treatment is not the right thing. Everybody knows it's not the right thing. But since Swami had tapped it, he'll do a miracle. Okay, Pain was getting worse. The very next day, somebody is coming from UK, he has a practice in Harley Street, a hand surgeon. Now this is Swami's Leela. That fellow brings some anesthetic equipment and brings it to my room. And then he says, I'm a hand surgeon, what's your problem? Now the way he examined, the way he told everything, first time I knew he knows what he's talking about. He described what's going on. I don't want to go into medical terminology. He said what operation needs to be done. It's a complex operation. Tendon transplant, transfer to keep that subluxation. I was thinking of that is the only answer, already ready. There was only one digital camera in Puttaparthi at that time. That too was only with Professor Venkatraman. And he helped me to take a digital picture of that X-ray and sent it by email with a description of this hand surgeon from Harley Street. Now all I want is Swami, give me permission to go to Australia and get my hands operated. He won't bother. The plaster cast is there itching and I'm having severe pain. Already my mind is working negatively because the plaster cast means the muscles are wasting. Now I'm calculating so many weeks, so many months. Already it's skinny, there won't be any muscles left. That type of fear. Now he comes. I'm trying to say, Swami, again he will scold me, fighting with your wife. Another day he will tell, it's all imagination. There's nothing wrong with you. Right. Now is a meaning for that. What is imagination? One day he said, all doctors, they're all imagination. Those days you had an X-ray department. So you call it X-rays. Then we sophisticatedly call it Department of Radiology. Now with the advent of ultrasound images, we don't call it X-ray or radiology, we call it Department of Medical Imaging. I go one step further to call it Department of Medical Imagination. You have no problem until the CT scan is wrongly reported, you got a brain tumor. And you create a brain tumor with your mind. I'm exaggerating a bit, but this is the way we are going today. So Swami tells, it's all imagination. Swami is telling there's nothing wrong with you. Now you have heard Sundar, who lives in America now. Sundaraya. Yeah, about the snake. When Swami says it's okay, believe it. But I am not ready for that. He'll scold me one after the other. One day in front of everybody he told me, there's nothing wrong with your hand, it's all your imagination. I felt my ego got the better of me and I said, Swami, it's all in the X-ray. He turned me and gave a look. He could have burnt me to ashes. Almost without a spoken word, his look was enough to say, how dare you speak with me like that? Immediately I realized my folly and the story of Arjuna and Krishna going and the bird story you all know. I felt so bad, I prayed that Swami should forgive me. It goes on. Either fighting with your wife or imagination. Do you know the meaning of those two? First he said nothing is wrong with you, it's your imagination. Which means it's normal. You've got to believe it's going to be right. You don't need a doctor. He refused to give me permission to go to Australia and have the hands operated. Then fighting with your wife, what does it mean? Even you got wives. There is no man or woman for wife. This wife will go with you even after you leave your body. Mind, stressed out, conflict, worries. Fighting with your wife means your wife, first wife is your mind. Second wife is your soulmate. Swami's language is cryptic and we must understand the context of his saying. Okay. Finally I have resigned, almost sad, and one day I was sitting in I sit in the upper veranda, and so because of that I have extra cushions, I can't touch the ground, and I'm sitting with 3 cushions. On one side is Dr. Narendranath Reddy, on the other side is Dr. Gadia from London. Swami is standing, one afternoon, Swami is standing in front, showing his back, looking at but just turning like that and say, Doctor, go inside. I mean, he's giving me a hard time. And it can't be me. And he talks to Dr. Reddy or Dr. Gadia. So I thought it must be one of them. I don't respond. Again, second time he turned the other way and said, Doctor, go inside. And these 2 guys are not going and I'm wondering what's going on. So we 3 are seated still. Now Swami walks down the middle veranda, picks up one Canadian devotee whose wife had a car accident, he's a central coordinator, and asked him to call his wife. And another chap from London who had angioplasty. And now when he comes back, now face to face he stops. Hey Pavan, have I got to call you 3 times? Get up and go inside. Now, you see, treatment for those who live with him is different from visitors. Visitors are treated respectfully. So, please, this is something that people will never understand. You are in the house, you are a servant, you are treated like a servant. Okay, I get up and I do this to call my wife because Dr. Singh from Canada called his wife. As I put my hand up like that, Swami holds my hand and pushes it down. No ladies, only you. Okay. Now go inside, cut the story short. First he is pampering this fellow from London. And then he creates a beautiful gold Ashtapatra where Vibhuti materializes fully with embossed with silver Radha Krishna thing on the side. And then he opens and the Vibhuti overflows onto his gown. Now he looks at me. Jealous? So I said, never jealous, Swami. I'm always happy when others are happy. I boldly told him. And I can guarantee that. I don't have any jealousy from 1984 when I went through that process, 4 years with Swami. That's another long story. Jealousy is the worst thing that can affect a sadhaka. Never feel jealous. Bless the whole world. The more you bless the world, the more you get from God. And I'm telling the spiritual truth. Even if it's a terrible, nasty chap, bless him. But we have to learn this art of living. Bless the whole world. And God will bless you. Okay. Then suddenly he gets up. And descriptively, I can't tell too much because it was a drama within a drama. He took me inside. I was sitting on the floor. How did I sit? I can't touch anything. I was leaning against the wall and sliding. And then it's a polished granite. And then boom! Hurt. And Swami looks and says, Ayyo Pavam. Buddhi leda. Now getting up is impossible. Now I am clumsier than a camel, rolling this way, that way, trying to get up. It was a sight and a half. He got hold of me by the arm, took me inside, and said, sit on the sofa, and he sat next to me. I said, no, Swami, pushed me on the sofa and made me sit on the sofa. Now he's asking as if he doesn't know anything, what happened to your hands? Then I'm describing. Straight away he said, he doesn't call it plaster of Paris. He says, that white bandage? Useless, throw it away. Now I learnt my lesson. I would have said, this is what I was trying to do for the last 4 weeks and you didn't let me. Now no more. Because after that, Swami is all in the X-ray business, I learned my lesson. He says, you get rid of this bandage, white bandage, useless. Simply, Karishe Vachanam Tava. Yes, Swami. Right. I was very happy. And he said, no, going to Australia. Swami will heal you. He held my hand for a long time and he gave me some exercises. And the problem is still there, all these muscles are wasted, but I am able to function normally. There's a lot of pain. If you press here, I'll hit the roof even now. But doesn't matter. This body doesn't exist. The mind doesn't attach itself to the body. Now, some more test. Now I got to give you this last one before I conclude. A lot of lessons to be learned. Okay. 1994, I injured my knee. I had a very bad injury to the cartilage or cruciate ligament or whatever. And I'm going to fast forward. I want an arthroscopy done. And my wife scolded me. You want always to go to the operating theatre, but why don't you give Swami a chance? And she was in Melbourne, I was in Sydney. We were on holiday from Puttaparthi in Australia. I said, I can't be bothered. I've got a lot of work to do. Okay, I'm going to put 1 packet of Vibhuti. If he doesn't fix it, I'm going to get it done tomorrow. I put Vibhuti. Next morning I get up. 80% of the swelling had vanished. I don't go to the hospital. The surgeon was furious. He wanted to see the knee. And when he saw, he said, what did you do? I said, I prayed to my God and I put some holy ash. And he said, I could do well with this powder in my clinic, he said. Right. Now, problem is still there. 3 years going. Now I'm in the repair shop again because I was stopped from working. For 1 year, I'm not working, sitting in the veranda. He won't let me go back, come back, and he doesn't want me to work. It's all his will. What is the work? There's only one work for a human birth, to realize you are God. Oh, he can do without doctors. He can do without engineers. It's all an artifact. The only work. So, the hardest work is when you have no work to do. The mind becomes a devil's workshop. This is the sadhana. We think a doctor should be working. What am I? So, he will stand next to me. Once a week, once a fortnight, definitely twice a month, I get the works. Eating and sleeping. Then he will tell the VIPs, doctor from Australia, lazy, only eating and sleeping. You got to take all, because he has to strip every bit of the ego. Then wife also doctor, she's also lazy. This is Bhagavan. It's all love. But we don't understand his ways. Then one day I really felt it was painful. I wanted an arthroscopy done. And reluctantly he said, "Poi pannu, go and do it." He was not blessing, but "Poi pannu, go and do it." I had all the complications. Anyway, at least I had the chance to see pictures of the knee. And this top orthopedic surgeon in Sydney said, this knee is gone. 3 years maximum. I've polished the condyles, but guaranteed 5 years, you never escape a knee replacement. From 1997 to 2002, no problem. No injury. Suddenly in 2002 December, the knee swelled up in severe pain. I knew what the doctors will do. I thought I'll have a go at Ayurveda. Professor Kasturi's grandson introduced me to an Ayurvedic doctor, so I never told Swami anything about my problem. And he knows everything. He expected me to tell him, of course, but I thought these are small things, why should I bother Swami? But I didn't go to hospital to work. It was getting worse. With that treatment, it was getting worse. Now after 6-7 days, the Ayurvedic man tells, I've got to put leech. He's got a nursery where he's growing leeches. He'll suck out all that. I said, it's a sterile fluid inside. I am a doctor. I know what leech is okay to suck out the pus if there is any. So no more leeching. And I stopped the treatment. One of the orthopedic surgeons from Singapore came, at least, uncle, at least go and get an MRI done. So you can do only in Whitefield. So even for that I had to get Swami's permission. So reluctantly he said, go. Right. That's the way he'll speak. He won't be nice because he has his own way of dealing with it. So people who come from outside must be thinking, this fellow must be a rotter to get scolded by Swami almost every day. What he is doing is he's stripping every bit of that ego. That is the Guru's way of changing. Now when I come back, of course when I'm away, he's asking Dr. Bhatt, a senior doctor who sits next to me. He passed away, he's older than Swami. What is wrong with Pavan's knee? Play safe. He said, Swami, only pain and swelling. He didn't say anything. I come back. 2 days later, just a few days before Christmas, he created a situation to stand next to me for a while as if he's waiting for somebody to come. Suddenly his eye falls on me. It's like your F-111 fighter bombers. Already the crossbow is locked at the target. That moment I know, I've been through that many times. That moment I knew the bazookas were going to fly at me. I've never seen Swami shout so much, so loud. It was like an earthquake in the front of the veranda. People behind did not know what's going on, who the target was. Grinding his teeth, he shouted, lazy, lazy. Not doing any work. Complaining of pain, pain, pain. It's all imagination. Lazy. Then he stops. looks around at the other doctors. And he, all doctors are lazy. Only imagination. Right. Then he pauses, looks at the senior man. That look is enough. He doesn't have to talk. That look, he can transfer a question telepathically, which I have experienced many times. Almost to say, what have you got to say? You're a senior man, what have you got to say? So now this man is the only one who can speak to Swami when he is Rudra Shiva. You have never seen Swami. The Premasvarupa is a Rudra Shiva at that time. Nobody can go near. Fire! He looks up and says, Swami, please don't get angry with me. When patients have pain, doctors can help. But when doctors have pain, only Swami can help. Who is speaking through him? It is Baba himself. But the Maya is such. And Swami looks at me like that and he goes inside. Darshan over, interview, and people get up and go. So Dr. Bhatt turns towards me and says, hey Pavan, what do you think about my answer? I said, sir, did you answer? Or did heaven descend through you to spare me from further assault? Then there was Professor Nanjundaya who was sitting, he's a controller exam, long-term devotee. He thought, I was like Hiroshima at the end of it, completely blown apart, right? He didn't know what to say, but he wanted to say something. I said, okay, tell me, there's nothing more left in me. Then he said, I want to tell you something. I've been with Baba for over 35 years. Swami does not give this treatment to anybody unless that person he owns. It's like a father will thrash his son, but never say a bad word about the neighbor's son. So what you see is not real. These are subtle, subtle ways of the divine. So that was a clue, but not enough. He was not satisfied with that. I wobbled my way. I swore that I'll never get any more treatment. I'm ready to die. I'm going to the hospital. And I was a pathetic figure in the ashram, in the hospital, everywhere for a few days. Real assault. And before I got out of the Kulwant Hall, Professor Nanjundaya is still waiting near the garage where the golden chariot is, locked in. I said, I want to ask you something. Have you read Shirdi Sai Satcharitra? I said, yes. You remember that story of Shama bitten by a cobra, snake, poison? Yes, I know. What did Baba do? Before I could answer, he said, he got up and hit the ground with a stick and shouted, climb down and get out of here. And they ran for their life. After a while, when he calmed down, other devotees asked Shirdi Baba, Baba, how can you chase away Shama like this? He loves you so much and you love him. And what did Shirdi Baba say? I never asked Shama to get out. I only commanded the poison to climb down and get out of here. That was the real clue. 3 days the swelling was there. 4th day onward the swelling disappeared. By the 10th day swelling vanished. No pain, no swelling. 2002 December. 10 years gone. No knee replacement. I have climbed Arunachala with that knee. What can't this God do? You can read books, that's not enough. Many of us are missing that point. We think Bhagavan is gone. Come on, we are all clever devils who can calculate and make theories and concepts. Forget it. I'm not interested in the solar calendar. Nothing happens without His will. His 96-year tenure is still on. The last 10 years He is still very much with us. And I have no time to talk about it today, but on the 22nd of July I'll be back from Latin America. There's a Mid-Atlantic meeting in, I think they are having it, I believe, at Bridgewater Center. And it is on a Sunday afternoon, the 22nd of July. I've got many more things to share with you. But one thing I must say, Swami is physically appearing to people whom I know personally. I'll just give you an appetizer and conclude my talk. A primary school kid having asthma. Sleep time. The kids were all sleeping. He was wondering whether to wake up the teacher. I know the boy. I know the father. I've seen the boy. I've got it directly from the boy. Baba walks into the dormitory with a Ventolin puffer and gives it to the boy and says, 2 puffs, your asthma will vanish. You don't have to wake the teacher. Many other instances are happening. Even this trip to Latin America is only initiated by him, where he had given instructions to people there that I should visit these countries. And that is how the whole thing began. New York is because I'm passing through. I'm spending 2 months in Latin America, 10 countries. And this is the place where the hearts are open. That's why I want to write a book, Where the Hearts Are Open. 4 universities. We are talking on ethics, values in professional life and human values. They're all Catholics. 5 hospitals addressing doctors. 3 medical schools. Human values in medicine and spiritual perspective on health and healing. Modern medicine is nothing but robotic, mechanical. I would say after 45 years in medicine, I would boldly say hospital is a garage to repair, service and maintain body cars. But health has nothing to do with that. We can naturally be healthy. And the answers are there. If you are interested, give me 5 more minutes, I'll tell you. I was speaking to a gathering on spiritual dimension on health and healing. This was in New Delhi, at the International Center. I was too tired, I had a PowerPoint presentation, but I wanted an acronym. I said, Swami, you must give me something that is not in any book, so that I could tell this to people. And I want the word to be health, H-E-A-L-T-H. And I dozed off. I was so tired, 5 o'clock in the morning, dark. And now Swami is giving me a discourse. It's registering straight into my head. H stands for Hari, or God. The patient invokes God before going to the hospital. God, go with me. Please guide me to the doctor who has love and compassion, who will treat me like his own family. The doctor, no matter how high and mighty, his hand can slip. We are all vulnerable. So the doctor also, if he is true, he will pray to God, I am human. For the sake of the patient, God, let me be your instrument. So H. E stands for effort and exercise for the body and mind. We know about the body, but what we overlook in that is diet. We've got to be very careful about our diet too. But if effort and exercise for the mind, the land of Bharat has got enough, but we don't do anything. Various kind of yoga, meditation, audit, self-inquiry, pranayama, you don't have to go into complicated. At least every morning get up and make 21 ohms. You get all your lung alveoli opening out. Your vital capacity improves. Health is carried. We don't do even Om properly. That is physiotherapy for the lung. Right. A stands for awareness and acceptance. We are fighting all the time. When you are fighting, we are draining our pranic energy. Instead of that, accept it. That was meant to happen. It was on the timeline. You were written at the age of 32, you are going to get cancer of the breast. Now you think I'm a crackpot? Please believe that I'm a crackpot. Nothing happens, there's a purpose. Even people with Western background have stated it, like Edward Bach. It is God teaching us humility and surrender. And there's another chap, an American herbalist, I can't get the name straight, David Hoffman. I mean, spirituality is not rituals and pujas, it is awareness of the whole dimension of the dynamics of divine energy that pervades every atom in our body. We are not tapping that energy at all. So, awareness, acceptance. Awareness is who you are. You are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect. Now who are you? Your body is a motor car, your name is your number plate. Plucked up from the motor registry, called the registrar of births. You can go to a lawyer's office and change your name by deed poll like changing a number plate when you change from one state to the other. Who are you? You are the driver of the car. You have driven many cars before, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. And all that huff and puff is about the motor car, is it? Forgetting that you are the driver of the car. All the Veda chanting is of no use when you are not aware who you really are. Baba says you are three persons in one. The one you think you are, one others think you are, the mind. What you really are, you are verily God yourself. Believe it. He has said that many times, Nive Devam. Do we believe it? We say Bhagavan, Bhagavan, Bhagavan. Do we believe it? That belief is the beginning. Okay, A. L stands for love for life. Be in the field, the kshetra. That is why we are there. Only experience will give us wisdom, not bookish knowledge. Never. You can be a scholar, it is zero. It's your experience that's going to tell you. So the only prayer I have is pray to Baba. Even now he is there verily with us. Give me that experience to know who you are. And you are me and I am you. Let me feel it. Not talking is not good enough. Books and books are turning out with word processing today. Many of them are manufactured stories so distorted. Thought, one negative thought, it's like a cyanide crystal in the Manasa Saruva. Every cell will get poisoned immediately. Keep away from negative people. H, humor and harmony. Laugh your way to the kingdom of God. God will send back, there's a return ticket for those who go crying. Because no cry baby is admitted in heaven. Because your nature is happiness. Happiness is union with God. That's why more people who go to church and temples cry. But spiritual people have that mudita. Mudita means the inward blissful happiness that cannot be affected by changing circumstances. Anyway, I have overstepped the mark. 10 minutes. What to do? You permitted me. Sara.
We all wish that we had time for more. But as he rightly mentioned, he's coming back in July. We have a regional program on July 22nd in New Jersey. I hope most of us here can make it. Thank you very much, Dr. Sara Pavan. I also wish to thank the Gange Balagangayan family for being instrumental in making this happen. Please express our gratitude to them. Sai Ram.